So we come to October of 2008, and they've come back from Frankfurt Book Fair, and they are ready to sell my book, and the economy collapses. 200 people were laid off in the industry within the month. And my agent says to me, I love this book too much. We're gonna hold. She's like, it'll get lost in the shovel. It's too important. Hang tight. So what the heck do you do then? Do you write another book? Because you have one that someone loves. And so I thought about it. And I thought about the other side of publishing and where I had been in nonfiction. And I kept wondering, how the heck do you sell a fiction book? Because nonfiction is sold on platform. You get out there and you speak and you push yourself. And my agent said to me, you do not exist on the internet. I was proud of that fact. She's like, that's not something to be proud of when you're an author. Get an internet presence. At the time, my life had drastically changed and I had begun going after my dreams one by one. I had made a list. So traveling, living in Florence, all sorts of crazy stuff. And you can actually read about my journey on this blog called 101 Dreams Come True. So I started writing this blog and I slowly began to get a following behind me. But it also did something else for me. I became a better writer because of it. So in 2010, yes, that's 2 years later. And meanwhile, my agent would call me every once in a while and we would chat and she'd send me a card. And when my grandfather passed, they sent me flowers and we created this relationship. She comes back in 2010 and says, we're ready to go. We have interest. Meanwhile, they were a young agency and they were building and they were building. And I had also run out of money at this point and was about to become a barista and ended up in the bridal business, long story. So I had another following of women who were my market that I knew I could market to. So in 2010, they're ready to go with my platform and everything. And I said, hold up. I've gotten better. I've studied my craft in the last 2 years. Let me rewrite. And they went and they got fresh eyes on it because we had all stared at it way too long. The following year, I get a phone call. And they said, you need to do an editor-author interview. I didn't know they did those things. Okay, sure. My agent was always 5 minutes late to every single editor-author interview. And I realized because she wanted us to chit-chat and get to know them. In 2 weeks' time, I spoke to every major house out there. And then we spoke to Lauren McKenna, who is my editor, and my agent said, great, there'll be an auction next week. And I went, auction? What, excuse me? I'm a debut, auction? And then she's like, well, get back to you, Marci. And they all hang up. The other thing about New York and being an author is that you have no idea what's going on in New York, ever. You can call up and ask, and they're like, oh, did we forget to tell you? So the next Wednesday comes, and it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, so is there anything I should know about today? And they're like, have a drink, we'll get back to you. And I'm like, why am I drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning? I'm like, oh, did we forget to tell you you're at auction? Auction. And the following day, I was signed with Simon & Schuster. That's what patience will get you. If you want to be part of this business, you've got to have patience. You've got to be part of the business.